All right, so who is here today?
I'm here. Geist.
Geist is here, great.
Tyler's here.
Tyler's here. And I'm here, Matthias, living it up. So what are we talking about today?
I don't know. Tell me.
Let's talk about the allegory of Pilgrim's Progress and Dangerous Journey and the Christian symbolism that's involved.
I have not read The Pilgrim's Progress.
Me neither. But
Well, then maybe that's not a good conversation
No.
topic.
No.
You see, I'm done with class today, so I'm not on that. Not in the academic realm.
Right, I have class
Okay.
at 1:10. Yeah.
There was a... So I was at the core forum, and I was trying to figure out how exactly to express this idea. But somebody mentioned, running on a hamster wheel. Is that's kind of what thinking in college feels like. And I was trying to come up with this metaphor of, is there a difference between running on a hamster wheel and getting nowhere, and running in a meadow that's essentially endless, and always being in a different place, yet if every place is like that place, you might as well be running on a...
No, I feel like there's a pretty marked difference there.
What's the difference?
A meadow's beautiful.
And
Hamster
a
cage
hamster
is-
wheel isn't?
No.
Why?
Hamster wheel is literally the same thing over and over again.
Yes.
A hamster wheel is
So
created.
it's just like
If
a green field of just grass. That's it.
if you're a hamster living in a meadow, all you see is the roots of grass. Everything looks exactly the same. It's dark.
So basically, for a
dingy.
hamster, it's like a maze.
It's
A
like-
constant maze.
It's like a constant maze, but every single part of it is exactly the same.
Yeah.
I think, to me, the difference is a hamster wheel is created by people to almost subjugate something small. And
Okay.
a meadow was created
Sure.
by God for our divine
Sure.
enjoyment.
Sure.
And I think even if it is practically similar, the difference is incredible.
So then taking that difference and applying it to thinking, thus is thinking more like a hamster wheel where we're just running in place and not getting anywhere? Or is it like a meadow where we're enjoying God's creation? Did God give us this gift of thinking to be a good thing that we enjoy?
I feel like it depends on how you look at it. Because I feel like with thinking, I feel like you get truly new ideas all the time. But then a meadow or the hamster wheel is if you're truly recycling the same ideas over and over again. I feel like that's not what a lot of philosophy is, but it can be. And it depends if you want to learn or you just want to pass.
Exactly.
Interesting. What do you think? Do we run on a hamster wheel, Tyler, or are we running in the meadow?
I feel like it's a mix of both. Because
both.
I feel like if you're taking it into the class's perspective, right? There's half that just want the grade, right?
Yeah.
And then there's half that are obviously trying to search for answers, trying to, I guess, find identity within theology, right? Find something out of it.
Sure.
So, I don't think there's a true answer. Honestly. I think
So our
I think there's-
mindset determines
Exactly,
whether or not...
yes.
Okay.
We agree on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Interesting.
I feel like calculus is a hamster wheel.
Tell me more.
It's the same numbers on a piece of paper and over again. And the point of me taking calculus, even one of my professors told me this. He's like, in comp sci, you don't need calculus 2 unless you do something very specific. It's just, the goal is to just make you stronger. And so a hamster wheel, it makes you stronger, but it's not very much fun. Hi, Zach.
So it's still kind of making you stronger, but you're just kind of doing it for
You're doing
the
it for
grade,
the sake
obviously.
of doing
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if the hamster wheel is fun?
Then that's your mindset.
So then, if the distinction between running through a meadow and running on a hamster wheel is that it's fun, then can running on a hamster wheel be fun? And then is there a difference?
Sure, it can be fun.
I guess if you perceive it as being fun, then it can be fun.
What about scrolling on TikTok? That's essentially running on a hamster wheel. You're not going anywhere.
I think it's maybe like sleeping on a hamster wheel.
Okay. So it doesn't have the exercise portion of it.
No.
It doesn't make you stronger.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Maybe makes your fingers stronger.
Gotta build that reaction time.
Boring.
Way off topic, but have you seen those videos where I see this guy and he makes it a whole joke. He's like, how to watch reels while sleeping, how to watch reels while swimming, and it's the stupid thing ever.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if I can pull it up quick, but
Sure.
How to fill out Dr. Armstrong's endless homework assignments.
while watching
while
reels.
scrolling.
Yeah.
If You had Dr. Armstrong?
No.
I had Dr. Armstrong for INT 100 last year.
Did he make INT 100 difficult?
Yeah.
Was that the guy that just spoke at the chapel today?
I don't know.
You guys were there? Okay,
Yeah,
that was
I loved
He
his
has-
sermon today.
Okay.
This way of talking that's
Mhm.
very dramatic.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
he would make an incredible Muppet.
Probably.
I just feel like a Muppet would suit
Probably.
him so well.
Yeah.
Like with little bald head.
He would make a really great, like, the Muppet Show host.
That'd be
He would make
Yeah.
a really great host.
All right, here's the.
So if you can see, I got my phone in my hand right there, and every time I come out of the water, I'm looking real, and then while I'm underwater, I'm swiping to the next one.
It's so stupid.
Like, it's actually so stupid.
Welcome, Jackson.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good. Sorry for the delay. I was really starving.
No, that's awesome. Don't worry.
What's up?
I'm Geist.
Jackson.
Jackson, pleasure to meet
Nice
you.
to see you. So yeah, Jackson just walked up. Jackson, I am recording this, if that's okay.
That's chill.
Like we talked about. Here comes Dylan. Don't know if he wants to join in the conversation, but Jackson, what we've been talking about is if thinking is like running on a hamster wheel, where you never truly go anywhere and everywhere's the same, or if thinking is like running in a meadow, where everything looks exactly the same, but you have this perception that you're getting somewhere.
Which one would be better to run in?
I don't know, because there's a helicopter and airplane coming by. Because the first distinction that we made, actually Geist made, was that the hamster wheel was created by man to kind of subjugate the rodent, to keep the rodent stuck there. Whereas a meadow was created by God for the hamster to enjoy and to revel in this beautiful thing. However, I argued that a meadow to a hamster actually isn't that beautiful, because you're sitting in this dark place covered by grass that is entirely like claustrophobic and kind of dark, like a cage. And then the second distinction that Geist made was that a meadow was fun and a hamster wheel wasn't, while both of them provided you space to run and get stronger. So with all of that, what do you think?
I would argue that for a hamster wheel is fun though.
Okay.
Like, we don't see a hamster wheel as fun because we weren't growing up and like playing with it.
Sure.
But as a hamster's like growing up, they see that and they're like, that's what I want to enjoy. That's what I want to play with. Like, that's their like toy or
Sure.
nature, as they would like call it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I said. Well, similar.
Yeah. And then what do you think? A hamster, like, I don't know, hamster that lives maybe 7 years, lives its first 5 years in a cage running on a hamster wheel. Throw it in a meadow. It doesn't get eaten or killed by anything else. Like, what do you think it would do?
I think it would be overstimulated. Like, I feel like it would have so much stuff that it wouldn't be able to process because its environment had like totally was nothing like that at all. And changing from like an encapsulated area to an open area
Mm-hmm.
would just like kind of like break all of its axioms, kind of like in our Plato reading, like it's coming out of the cave or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Axioms like the world is confined, or the floor is made of wood shavings. Yeah, like, I know a lot of rodents will... Anyway, this is off topic, and I want to hear what Geist says. Guys, I can feel, like, elbow grease in the brain. What are you thinking?
I was looking up if hamsters could survive in the wild or not. Because if they can't live in the wild, then their end goal is the hamster wheel.
Sure.
So the question is, can we, as human beings, live in the wild?
What do you mean by that?
Intellectually.
Intellectually in the
I don't know,
wild.
I think it was pseudo-intellectual what I just said. But
Okay.
I think Jackson made a good point about the wheel in terms of... I'm trying to remember, what you were saying is like, it is a good thing for the hamster? Or
Yeah, like they like it. Like that's
Yeah.
what they grew up with. So that's kind of like what
what-
they want to do.
it's what they were conditioned to enjoy. Is being conditioned to think something or feel something a bad thing?
Well, was the hamster conditioned? Yes, there was nothing else to do, except for maybe gnaw at its paw, but we didn't tell the hamster to run on the wheel.
I don't think hamsters have moral value the same way that people have moral value.
Sure. Okay, I can. Sure.
Hamsters just don't bear the image of God.
Okay. That's fair. The metaphor does eventually fall apart, as all metaphors do.
That's why I think putting a hamster in a meadow versus in a hamster wheel, I don't think there's a big difference between that. But putting a person in a meadow versus in a hamster wheel, I think there is a big difference.
I agree. There is a big difference. That the Matrix explores that difference.
Right. And letting a guy bum a fry versus not letting a guy bum a fry, there's a big difference there.
Bum a fry?
Borrow one.
Borrow a fry?
Good old appreciate you.
Oh,
Thanks, Jackson.
okay.
That's
So you were
what
just
you
hungry and asking for
No, I'm
Jackson's
not even
food.
hungry. I just want a fry.
Tyler, I haven't heard from you in a while. What are you thinking?
Well, I feel like I'm still kind of on my first thought. Similar to what Jackson said, I just kind of related it more to like just the broad aspect. Like you take the hamster wheel and connecting it to, like, let's say like human-wise, right? As like we'll use it as like a metaphor. That some people would find their enjoyment in the hamster wheel, which is whatever they may believe in, or they may find their enjoyment in a meadow, which is them opening up their views and taking in what's around them to gain a sense of a new reality.
Okay.
I'd like to ask, like, what do you think would be like an example of like a person like running in that hamster wheel, like closing off their views, or
Yeah, it would almost, so take someone in theology class, right?
Sure.
That is just there. They don't really care what the professor's saying. They're just there for the grade, right? Like they're just doing the reading. They're reading, but they're not actually understanding the reading. They're just, I guess you could say understanding, but they're not retaining the information and actually trying to get something out of it.
Okay.
When instead someone who's in the meadow, so to speak, is opening up their mind and opening up their views and taking their own worldview and almost putting it to the side to then understand what the class has to offer. If that makes sense.
You think, Tyler, like maybe a difference between the hamster wheel and the meadow is like the hamster wheel is always going to be the same. The meadow, even though it's probably always the same, it could have something. Your mind is open to what could be there. Hamster wheel, you don't even have to open your
That's
mind.
true.
It's not like there can be anything else.
That's true. Because like the meadow, like as far as you can see the horizon, there could be something past that that you could be reaching towards.
It could be. There's nothing about a meadow that's fundamentally constrained, but there is
Sure.
about a hamster wheel.
That's true.
It's true.
Meadow might have a little bug crawling around.
It
It's
might.
learn about.
Yeah.
It might.
Hamster wheel has a bug crawling around. Something.
It's probably mites.
It's probably mites.
It will lead to your death.
I might have had mites before.
My sister had rats for a few years, like pet rats. They were cute.
Oh yeah, they are so cute.
And we, the last pair that she got died after about 10 months, which is a really short life for rats. And we figured out what was wrong with them afterward. They, like, one of their eyes, like, got really infected and enlarged. Like, they had patchy fur, lots of irritation, and then like, low energy level, and then eventually they just died. Eventually we figured out that the shavings had mites that infected their fur, grew on them, and killed them slowly.
Wow.
So insects in the cage, like, aren't your friend. Like, what are they?
So it's like the hamster wheel probably doesn't have anything new, and if it does have something new, it's almost certainly bad.
It's almost certainly bad.
But the meadow, you don't know. Is that a comfort, not knowing if something's good or bad, or does it allow you to have something new and interesting, or is that terrifying?
I don't know. One of the axioms of the meadow that I proposed earlier was that the hamster wouldn't get eaten. There were no predators in the meadow.
Interesting.
But with our understanding of a meadow, that's just not true. Like, rodents are essentially snack food.
Yeah.
Should we apply the same axiom then in the cage? It's the ideal cage? The ideal cage and the ideal meadow?
Where there are no predators that can eat you.
There's no mites in the cage.
There's no mites in the cage. Okay.
Interesting. I feel like maybe this goes back to the idea before, I think that we all came to like independently, is it depends on how you see the cage and. Well, it's all relative,
Yeah.
guys. There we go. More relativism.
I feel like we also have to ask like the question like, if we're in this cage that's not perfect, how did this danger get there? Was it A, from like the meadow, like something else came into the cage and brought it there, or was it the meadow has always had this? I mean, the cage has always had this like implicit danger in it, and it just never came out until a specific time.
That sounds like the metaphor of like the prison door that's like hell and sin. You live your life and you kind of exist in the prison cell. The door's open, you feel comfortable, you're living in this place of sin and rebellion and breaking away from God. Your life feels good. And then you die and the door's closed and you no longer have the opportunity to step out of the cell.
Ooh, like you didn't step out of the cell before, but because you had the opportunity to, you were fine.
Yeah, because the door was still open. There was still this opportunity. God was still reaching out to you, and throughout your whole life, you never chose him. You always rejected him. And then when you die, the door is closed. Like, to me, that sounds similar to this metaphor of the hamster living in the cage.
Yeah. Do you think the hamster, if it knew the benefits of both options, which one it would choose?
Can the
If
hamster
it-
choose?
Can the hamster?
Yeah.
Can the hamster know?
I feel like we
Yeah,
can know, but do we just think that we know?
Yes.
Hamster probably thinks that it knows.
Well, it's like it's like the analogy of the cave. The guy who left the cave began to understand the world outside, began to understand light.
And he thought he knew that it was better.
And he thought he knew it was better, but he didn't remember shadows.
Hmm.
He completely forgot darkness.
Hmm.
And
Actually, I feel like this is exactly what you said. It's like what you're conditioned to want when you're younger, like what you grew up with.
Yeah.
You put your little wild hamster in a cage, it probably hates it. You put your homegrown cage hamster in a meadow, and
Yeah. And it hates it.
Homegrown. Homegrown.
yeah, I think you're onto something with that.
Yeah.
I also think I'm right about everything I think.
Tyler, what do you think?
I don't really think my thoughts have changed from
Okay.
what I said earlier. I don't know. But then that goes back to, I mean, obviously each and every one of us have a slightly different view on it. But is there a way we can all connect them somehow?
I have a question for you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Which one's better, hamster wheel or meadow?
Meadow.
Meadow. Jackson, same question.
I feel like if you're thinking about it, like thinking wise, it's better to be in a meadow, because even
Okay.
though you may still be in like the same, you might be seeing the same thing, there's still the possibility that you're like searching for that something is different, which would show you something otherwise.
Okay. Geist, what do you say? Same question.
I think the meadow at least makes you feel like you can choose, and I think that's nice.
I agree. I could convince myself that I think that the hamster wheel is better, but I don't believe that.
Just intuitively, it feels wrong.
Just intuitively,
it
it does
does,
feel.
yeah.
I wonder if part of that is like Americanism, this idea of freedom, but
There's a place for the hamster wheel. Sometimes you just need to exercise and be given direction.
that's true, and we like direction. Ultimately, we like knowing what to do. I know, at least with my girlfriend, I want her to tell me what she wants. Like, I want her to tell me, like, you are feeling this way. How can I help you feel better? Give me a step-by-step.
Yeah,
Like, I want instruction in those moments.
true. Makes sense.
So then, Jackson, okay, I'm gonna ask someone else because you're eating your French fries. Tyler, which
Yeah.
one do you feel like you're doing? Running right now, in the meadow or on the hamster wheel?
You know, in some aspects of life, I feel like I'm in the meadow, but then others, I feel like I'm just constantly running on a hamster wheel. like, I feel like the days feel almost like a hamster wheel. Like I'm just literally doing the same thing over and over and over again. But I feel like that's almost me getting into a rhythm and getting too comfortable and not searching through the meadow. Like I feel like I'm just comfortable at where I'm at, but I don't feel like that's good.
What's the problem with the comfortability?
I don't know, I think the fact that we've been here for, I don't know, 10, 11 weeks now. And I don't know, I feel like there's more out there that I could be learning, that I could be searching for, and that I'm just limiting myself in a way.
Interesting. I mean, Geist, we've both been here. You're a sophomore, right? So we've both been here a year longer. How do you feel?
This is a great question. Because I'm in core history, we're talking about the Enlightenment right now. And kind of the resounding cry of the Enlightenment is, I'm going to probably butcher the Latin pronunciation, but sapere ode, which means dare to know for yourself. And I think that's very much to do with the meadow and the hamster wheel. I think right now I'm on the hamster wheel, looking forward to the meadow.
Interesting.
Sometimes I peek out in the meadow a little bit. I think the meadow, where we're really free, that comes with, I think, the new heaven and the new earth.
So you're saying, like, to get to the meadow, we have to be, like, we find that through, like, Christ or God? Or, no?
I think true freedom lies in who your master is, who made the meadow, who made the hamster wheel. And I think if you want the best freedom, the truest freedom that exists, you need to go to the best master that exists, and that's God.
Master being equated with creator.
Yeah, well, in a way. I mean, I think in life you're always mastered by something. It could be your desires, it could be by the forces around you, it could be all kinds of things. And you will always be mastered by something. That could be yourself, but you're a flawed person, we all are.
Usually isn't yourself.
And it usually isn't yourself. What does that even mean? Your own desires, again, like the things that you want in life? So have a good and righteous master, and then you're free.
I think for me, one of the issues I have with the meadow metaphor is that there is no comfort in the meadow. The idea of infinity is honestly very frightening. It's cold, it's open, it's big, it's too big. Whereas the cage is cozy and homey and safe. So I like even mole rats will build a nest somewhere in the meadow. There is a hamster wheel still in the meadow. I wonder if that is a good meshing of these two ideas, Tyler.
Yes, that sounds right.
Like trying to live in the meadow while still having a place.
Because obviously you can't live in comfortability your whole life. But
No.
then you also can't live in just straight fear and unknown. You know, so I don't... It has to be a mix of both.
So, like, you're kind of saying we have to, like, live in this stage of, like, fear and uncertainty within our thinking to eventually get into a comfortable spot to where we can just stay there, but still have, like, an open door for things to come in, but not, like, completely break our so-called house that we live in.
That sounds like the zone of proximal development.
I have no idea what that is.
There's this.
I'm making up words.
I'm not. You can look it up. The zone of proximal development.
I'm not looking at
It's that we have this space, this sphere of ideas that we're familiar with, and then there's this sphere outside of it that's everything that we don't know. And just around the edge of what we know is this comfortable space where we can be comfortable with being uncomfortable and learn a little bit more.
Without overwhelming yourself.
Yeah, because if you're completely overwhelmed, you don't learn.
Yeah.
It reminds me of this thing Einstein said. I don't know if the word is analogy or metaphor, but he said the longer the radius of our circle of knowledge, the flashlight of knowledge we have in darkness, the bigger the circumference of what we don't know there is.
Oh, that's true.
And so you've got this infinite void, and we're like, look at how big our flashlight of knowledge is getting. And then we see the edge, and we're like, wow, we really don't, we don't know anything. The more we learn, the less we know. Like, what's going on with that? Seems like it's related to the zone of proximal development.
So it actually makes sense. It's a zone. It's an area of proximity close to development.
So why don't
it's
you call it an area of learning? Learning space.
Learning space.
Great job, Matthias. You thought of a school.
No, not
I'm just teasing.
not a
you, man.
physical place.
I know. I'm just teasing.
That is what a school does, though. A school does push us to new and uncomfortable places. Like my mom's
like
been
the bathroom.
Like yes, like the high school bathroom that smells of marijuana and maybe not poop actually. I don't think people poop in there. What does that even smell like?
Whatever it's flavored, probably.
Tropical lavender. I don't know.
See, I know I went to a small private Christian high school because people were playing video games in the bathroom more than they were like vaping. No, like I would go into the bathroom during class and people would just like be standing in the doorway playing video games, and I'm like, this is oddly wholesome, but also like, what are you doing?
You guys seen this?
What?
Frick.
All right, what are you showing us? The trains are getting to real. No one wants to inhale your watermelon Candy Crush.
Just reminds me of the vape.
Oh, that's silly.
It's kind of insane.
So we've been talking about 25 minutes now, and it's 12:41.
It's been delightful.
It's been delightful.
Thank you for inviting me, Matthias.
Of course.
I like how you bring out people's thoughts. I want to have something interesting to say
Do
to
we
you.
have any last thoughts?
I guess I would just have one question, kind of bringing back to your like flashlight analogy.
Einstein's, not mine.
Is it
I'm not that smart.
better to have a small circumference and you don't know the edges of the darkness, or to have a wide circumference of your flashlight and know that your knowledge is like limited, but it could expand to such heights?
I think you have to be okay with knowing that there's darkness. I think you just have to be fine with that. If you sit with your small little flashlight, the darkness is as big as it ever was. You just don't know it.
That's
I
true.
think
You're
should
staying in the
be
dark,
okay.
right? You have your flashlight closer to a wall. Obviously, you're not gonna see anything, right?
No scary ghosts
The
here.
farther you get away from the wall, the bigger
And the
light
blurrier
gets.
the edge gets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I dig it.
Anyway, are we feeling like this conversation is concluded? Or would we like to say more?
I like the thoughts that we had.
No.
This is good practice
I
for
feel like
philosophy.
it was good.
Yeah, I think that was good.
Great. That's awesome. I'm so glad.
Yeah. Thank you, Matthias.
Yeah.
Thank you,
It's
Tyler.
fun. It's fun.
Should we come up with a next topic like during the week or just on
Wait,
the spot?
just on the spot?
Yeah.
I
'Cause
thought
this was
about
straight
this.
up on the spot, right? Or
I
was this...
thought about this on
Okay,
Wednesday,
okay.
and I wrote it down for myself.
Yeah.
This idea of the hamster wheel in the meadow. And then we talked about it, and it was good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Have you guys read Dante's Inferno?
No.
Me neither. Heard it's some classic.
Okay, guys, you keep bringing up
No.
literature. You're like, have you read this? Me neither. We should talk about it.
No, I think it'd be cool. Like, it's split into not chapters, but kind of chapters. You could read, and they're not that long. You could do like one a week. It's just very
This isn't a
interesting.
book club.
But it's a lot of Christian literature.
This is
with-
philosophy.
It is
we bring up
philosophy.
ideas from our own heads and nothing else.
Okay, well, frick.
Guys, I love your idea, and I would love for you to read Dante's Inferno.
I think I'll just read Dante's Inferno.
I'm not entirely like. If you really want someone to talk to like Dylan.
No. He's the reason I'm gonna read it. He's the
Yeah,
reason I'm gonna
I guess
read it.
you've been talking to Dylan then.
I'm talking to him.
I wonder if the arborists are here every Friday. Because if they are, maybe this isn't the best spot.
I think that they're.
No, this is
Oh
like
my
a
God,
one-time
they're like-
thing.
This
like,
is a heavy-duty tree
Killing
trim.
those trees.
There's no way the trees grow this much every
Alright.
week.
Yeah, no. It's
Well-
like, this is like a one-time thing every few months.
I'm gonna stop recording.
Okay.
So
Thanks, Matthias.
goodbye, people.